Hello everyone, welcome back. Last video I talked about Subgraph. It was an introductory video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a few advanced features. We are basically going to convert a complex ComfyUI workflow into a single powerful Subgraph node. I have an example on the screen here. So as you can see, I have only one node. This is just the output image so that we can see the generation, and this node here has everything that I need to change, including the prop here. I have a denoising strength. I even have an input image here so that I can connect to a load image and then turn this into a workflow for image to image generation. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. But first, let's take a look at the ComfyUI interface. It got updated once again. And as you can see, we have some new icons on the left side. We have the bar at the top and the navigation at the bottom right here. So I hope you can see it on the screen. And I'm pointing this out because it affects how the subgraph node shows up. So let's do a quick example here. I'm going to select this. Let's pretend this is our complex workflow. I'm going to click on this button here to create the subgraph. By the way, in case you have not watched my previous video on the introduction to subgraph, I will have a link in the description below so that you can catch up if this is too confusing. Okay, so this is the subgraph. I'm going to click on this button here to go inside, and previously in here we would have breadcrumbs that will allow us to navigate forward or backward. Now it's actually at the top here. So this confused me for a moment because I was looking here when I was testing this. So just be aware, in case you have subgraph and you're navigating it, you'll need to click here. These are going to be the breadcrumbs link. So to go back, I'm going to click on unsave workflow and then I'm going to go into the top level. So let me clear everything. I'm going to start from scratch and we can utilize the simple basic workflow just so that I can show you the different features of subgraph. So I'm going to press Control, hold, and then drag to select everything except the save image. Then I'm going to click on the subgraph button. This will create a subgraph. And if after creating the subgraph, you move this subgraph node somewhere else, let's say you are arranging your workflow. So right now I created it around this area and I move it to this area. So if I zoom in here and then I click on this button here to go in and modify the individual nodes inside the subgraph, it will take me to a blank space. And if I scroll all the way, you will see that it took me to this spot where the top level subgraph was, and my nodes are in the previous position that they were in. So basically what happened is I created the subgraph here. The subgraph remembered that position and it placed all the nodes in here in this exact position. And when I move the top level subgraph node to a different position and then click on the icon to edit the inside of it, it will take me to this position here, not where the nodes are. So that can catch some people off guard, especially considering that this is a new feature. So at first I thought that maybe it didn't work and I lost all of my progress so far. But no, just remember to click on this button here. This is fit the workflow into view. So when we click on this, it will take you to your current workflow. Right now, I just have two nodes in this layer. But if I go inside, right now I have the zoom out view. But if you see like blank space, just click on the fit view and it will zoom you out. If you are somewhere you don't see anything, you can click here and again, you will get your workflow. By the way, the shortcut key for me, it's here, period. You'll need to check what is the shortcut key for you. By default, I think it is period. I'm not sure if I change this at any time. So just check fit view to selected nodes. Even though it says selected nodes, it works even if you don't have any nodes selected. So if I don't have any nodes selected, I can press period and that will take me to the current working area. So now a few things that we need to know. This here, it's the input slot for the subgraph node. And this here, it's the output slot. So we have input and output, and it shows in here at the top level. So by the way, again, I use the navigation area at the top to move back and forth. So this is my subgraph. This here is image, and you can see here it says image. Right now in the input slot, I don't have anything, and in my subgraph, I can see that I don't have any inputs here. So to customize this, I'm going to go inside it, fit everything into view. At the top here where we have new subgraph, I'm going to click on it once, and then I get the option to rename it. Of course, you can clear the workflow. I'm going to rename it and say it's a super node. If I go back now, you can see the name change. You can also double click here to change the name. So going back down, what I want to see are all the options I can change at the top level. The way to do this is select any node that you want, find the field that you want to see at the top level. In this case, I'm going to use the load checkpoint, and these input slots can be moved. Simply click on the handle here and you can move them anywhere you want. So we see that we have a dot here. Hopefully my highlighter on the pointer is showing on the recording here. So this dot here is right now blank. So click on it, drag out, and you will see a dot appear next to load clip point where we have the checkpoint name here. So you can see that it is snapping to that point. If I don't select that dot and drag out but that dot will not appear here. Okay, so click on it, drag into it, and now we can see checkpoint name is grayed out. I can no longer select it from here, but instead it's showing here. If I go back to my top level workflow, now I can see I have the field in my supernode subgraph. So I can go in and change my checkpoint from here. So let me increase the size. By the way, this works exactly like a ComfyUI node. So you can drag to resize, you can right click, and you will get all the options: title, resize, bypass. All of that works the exact same way. So we disable it, we can bypass it. It works exactly like a normal ComfyUI node. All right, back to here. We can see the checkpoint name, and I can select my checkpoint. Now, if I go back in, I have a few more options here. So this checkpoint name, let's say I don't want this name, I can right click on the dot next to it and then select rename slots. I can put a proper name, let's say checkpoint model name, press enter, and then when I go back, it will update right away. The next option I have is to disconnect the link, and it's going to disconnect it, and now this is where I will need to change my checkpoint. Notice how this checkpoint model name is still there, although it is not being used. And if I go back here, you can see that it says here checkpoint model name, but there is no connection. So normally when you don't connect an input field like this, it will tell you that there is a missing connection. In this specific case, when I click on the run button, it will make as if this is an optional field. So optional field does not need to be connected, and that is because the checkpoint is being loaded from here. Now, if you don't want that, you can right click and click on remove slot, and now we go back to not having anything. This blank dot will not even show up here. All right, so let's continue. I'm going to change this here. We can do the same thing for text prompt. So right here we have the positive prompt. I can zoom into it where we see a dot appearing here. So we can see that I can select the clip, that is normal, but I can also select the text. And if I drag out, you can see that I'm getting the text there. Alternatively, I can go from here to there, right? So now it says text. I can do the same for negative prompt. I can also do it for these options here. So I'm going to drag and get all the options I can possibly get. Let's do seed. We have steps. Here's CFG. We have sampler name. There's scheduler, and there is denoise here. So these are all the options I can modify, and it's all being passed through this input slots here. Now notice how the key sampler has this drop down to control the seed. But right now, if I take an empty dot, try to put it into the control after generate, it does not allow me to do it. And you can see it's jumping between seed, step, model, and so on, but I'm not able to connect it with control after generate. And we'll see how this affects the entire image generation. So for now, let me go back and we can see all the options here. So let me generate a basic image here. I'm going to keep the prompt as it is. There we go. We got the galaxy inside the bottle. And just to make things easier to demonstrate here, I'm going to set my seed to 100. Now, if I go inside, we can see that the key sampler is at randomized seed right now. So let me go out. I click on the run button. We have an image. This is the seed number 100. If I click on run, it's supposed to randomize the seed, but nothing is happening. And that is because the seed, when you take it, you drag out and you place it inside the super node, it's considered as fixed. So the seed here in the super node or the subgraph node is basically a fixed seed. This option will no longer be valid. Whatever you select here, even if I select increment, I click on the run button, nothing happens. Can go back, it doesn't work. So know that if you put the seed into your subgraph node at the top level, it will be considered as a fixed seed. You can get around this by taking the seed, drag out, and then you select a primitive int. This will give you the option to randomize the value. So in this case, I can randomize it and you can see that my value is being randomized like normal. Of course, you can also manually change it here. So if you don't want 100, you change it to something else and now you have more control over it. The rest works the exact same way. Remember, I said that this has all the functionality of a ComfyUI node. So let's say you have like an image here that has a different width and height. You can take the width into these slots here and then it will automatically calculate the width and height. Same thing for any of these options. If you have an AI node that is outputting text, you can connect it to your positive or negative, and then it's going to take over exactly the same way. Now, let me scroll out. I'm going to right click and you can see here it says group node deprecated. And this is important to note because the group node feature will be removed in the near future. So if you have any workflows which is utilizing group node right now, you may want to action on them, remove the group node, convert them back into normal ComfyUI workflow, and then you can use Subgraph to replace those group nodes. All right, so we've seen how to modify input slots, and all of these are the input slots. Now let's see how we can modify the output slots. Like this. So we'll go inside it. And right now we have only one image, but let's make it as if we wanted to see different variations, right? Let's say I want to experiment. We have Euler. Let's do Euler ancestral. And this one I'm going to do, I'm not sure what is the best configuration for this model. We'll just select some random values and we'll see what happens. What I want to show you is how you can get more than one image output. So right now I have 3 image output. Well, let me connect everything first. Okay, so everything is connected. Your workflow can be different. You can have actual functional workflows in here. I'm just using this as a demo, right? So one example of this could be you have a control net. The control net will give you a preview and you want to see this preview at the top level here. So if your control net is inside the subgraph and you want to see a second output, this is how you will do it. So we'll just pretend that the top one is my final image. So I can go into this output slot, right click. Again, I have the same option. So I can change this to final image. Then I have a second image. I can take the image, drag it into an empty dot, and this will give me another field. Same thing for the third one into the output slot here. We can right click, rename, and let's say this is control net image. Maybe you have some kind of IP adapter that's also doing something. You can have something like this. Now, if you go back into the top level workflow, now we see that at the top here, we have 3 outputs and they are clearly labeled correctly based on what we did inside the subgraph, and very easy to see them. You can take them, drag out. Because they are image, the options that you will get will be filtered out to only show image options. So if I go into search, you can see it already recognizing it as an image output. So it's giving me image preview, preview image, save image, and so on. So I'm going to have preview image here, and this can be arranged anywhere you like. When you click on the run button, you can see now it's generating for the second one, the third one, and so on. So that was input to slot and output to slot modification. And you've also seen how we can create a super node at the top level. Now I'm going to show you how, instead of doing what I just did here, where I had to copy and paste this multiple times, how this can be streamlined using Subgraph. So I'm going to delete these ones, and what I want to have is the option to change the prompt for each image that I'm going to get here. So let's rename this into first image. Now I'm going to do second image and third image. Okay, so I've renamed these. Now normally you copy this, you paste it down below, maybe not the checkpoint, that's going to be inefficient. You'll have something like this and you connect it, but instead we'll use nested subgraph. So even though I'm already inside a subgraph, I can create another subgraph. So I know I need a new text prompt if I want to modify it. So I'm going to have the text prompt 3 times at the top. So this is 1, 2, and 3. This is going to be the positive prompt. The rest can still stay the same. If I don't want to change the latent image, I want all the images to be exactly the same, there's no need for me to change the latent. There's also no need to change the text prompt for the negative prompt, the case sampler settings, decode, and so on. Those would be standard. So what I can do is, let's move the load checkpoint away because I don't want to have multiple load checkpoints. If you copy and paste your checkpoint multiple times like this, and you use this like you have them connected, ComfyUI will load the model here and it will go in here and reload the model. So that's not very efficient. Okay, so make sure you're not doing it for load checkpoints or load VAE. You may want to keep this at the top level if that's what you prefer. Okay, now this is the part that's going to be repetitive. So I'm going to send all of them into a nested subgraph. Now notice how these are already connected here. So if I send them into their own subgraph node, they retain the connection. Even though those connections are not very pretty here, if you were to do it manually, you would probably have these fields at the bottom. But right now at this stage, we don't really care visually how it looks because at the top level, this is how it's going to look. This is our new subgraph. I'm just going to call it nested super node, right? And you can see it holds everything. Now what I can do at this point is I can Control C, which is copy. I can copy this nested super node. I can go down, press Control Shift and V to paste it, and then I can paste it again. So what I've done here is I've just pasted this, which is inside it, all right? But it appears as just one node. So no matter how complex this section is, can be like 100 node workflow, it doesn't really matter. At the top level, when you are copy and pasting the super node or that subgraph node, it will appear as just one node. And of course, you can see how powerful this is because now I can connect this positive prompt here. I can connect this positive prompt here. I'll need the clip like this, and then I can connect the image here and the image here. So there was no need for me to go here, copy, paste all of these, and then paste them again like this. One thing to note here is that anything that I converted into the input slot, they basically lose that connection. But I can go back here into this input slot and let me grab it if I can. I'm going to move it close to here and I can redo the connection. So denoising go here, and now this denoising is going to the top one and the bottom one. So it's going to affect both. Let's say, for example, this one, I want it to be a different seed number. I can take this second seed, have it be its own slot. So it says here seed 1, and that is because at the top I have seed here. Maybe let me put the highlighter back on. Hopefully it's visible. So this is seed from the top key sampler. This is seed from the bottom key sampler. And if I want to, I can take this seed from the third key sampler as well. It would show as seed. Now I'm going to remove the seed so that all of these are randomized. And because I have 3 prompts now, I'm going to modify my workflow a little bit. So you can see I have the negative prompt here, the positive prompt. So I'm going to remove the negative prompt. It is called text 1 right now. And I know I have text here, which is coming from the top positive one. So it's the first case sampler. Now I have not found a way on how to arrange these field slots. So I cannot click on the name and drag to arrange them. The only way I found is to right click, remove the slot, and then when you send it back, you reconnect it, it will appear at the bottom. Let's just rename this as prompt 1. I'm going to do this for prompt 2 and then prompt 3. All right, so I rename this to prompt 1, 2, and 3. Now, if I go to the top level, you can see now it's at the bottom. So that is the only way I found on how to arrange these slots. So disconnect it, remove them, and then when you reconnect it, it will be at the bottom. So this is my first prompt for this one. I think this is the second one. We'll see. And this will be the third one. Just so that we can see what's happening, I'm going to say close-up portrait of a man for the first prompt. Second prompt is going to be a woman, and third prompt is going to be a dog. Not sure if this model can do it, but we'll try. You can see the man, a woman, and hopefully that's a dog right there. And you can see how these prompts are affecting them. So what if I don't want to update these two, but only want to change the man? Let's say I don't like how the man looks like. It's too close up. I want it to be a little bit back. So I'm going to change the prompt here. Let's do portrait of a man. But remember, the prompt for the woman and the dog is still the same. If I click on the run button, it will only change the top one. That is the only thing that changed here. So now let's say I want to change the portrait of the woman, but I want to use a different seed. Now this is where the seed problem comes in. So I'll have to go inside, find which one of these were controlling the seed, and I know it's this second one, so I'll have to change the seed here. And if I go back now and run the workflow, it will output a new image for the second one. Now there's one way I found on how we can control the seed at the top level and make sure that it is random. I already showed it to you. I'm going to show you again because now we have 3 seeds to control. So this is from the first one. I'm going to have the seed at the bottom here. So this is the seed for the first one, the second one, and here is the third one. Now it says I'm going to rename it seed 1, and this one will be seed 2, and this one will be seed 3. I go back into the top level now. I have the control here, so I can update the seed directly from here. So let's say we want a different dog. Click on the run button. Now only this one should change. As you can see, it changes. But what if you want to keep all of these at random? In this case, we have 2 options. You can do like I showed you earlier. So we take this, we do primitive. This way we can set the control of the generation to random like this, randomize. And all 3 are randomized. If I click on the run button, it should change for all 3 now. As you can see, all 3 images change. Okay, so what if we don't want to have these extra primitive nodes attached here? So well, we can delete them. We'll need to go inside the super node once again, disconnect at the input slot level. So right click on the dot, remove slot, same thing, remove slot, again, remove slot 3 times. Now we'll go into the super node, basically the nested super node, and in here we also have the seed being sent over. So we'll right click and remove from here, and now you can see the seed is back into the case sampler where we can change this to randomize. So I'm going to change this only for this top one, the first image here. Notice how this one, even though it's a copy of the top one, the seed is still here and it is still fixed. And that is because when you create a copy by pressing Ctrl C and then you do Ctrl Shift and V to paste, it's a complete duplicate. It's not a clone. And these 2 are basically not connected anyway. They are acting as 2 different ComfyUI nodes right now. So this is important to know. They are not linked, even though it's a copy. And if we go inside, we have the same thing, but we can see for this one, the seed is connected here. For the first one, I removed this connection and I have the possibility to randomize it. So I'm going to go to the top level. I'm going to click on the run button here. Now all 3 of these change, and that is because we no longer have randomize here, but this is the only one that has the case sampler seed set to randomize. These 2 should be fixed. Let's click on the run button and you will see it run only for this one. So you see, only this one changes. So that is very important to note when it comes to nested subgraph and when you have seed at the top level. Okay, this will be applicable for any other options. So if I had the, let's say, the number of steps at the top level here, and let's say I wanted this one to be 25, this one to be 20, and this one to be 20, then for this one, I should set it up to 25 here as the number of steps, but these two should be connected to the top level so that I can set it to 20. For CFG steps, sampler name, you can send it to the nested supernode. If it is the seed where you need that extra field, control after generate, then you need to send it back to the original node. In this case, the K-sampler node. Hopefully I'm making sense. Hopefully this was clear. You may have to rewatch it if it is a little bit confusing, but otherwise I'm going to move on to the next spot. Okay, using this subgraph and nested subgraph, you can make really powerful workflows. So as an example, I'm going to clear this, create a workflow and come back because it's going to take some time. Okay, so I have a very basic workflow here. I have an input image. I'm going through this section and I'm getting a sort of anime-ish version of the input image. Okay, that's very basic. I'm sure you're going to create a better version of this, but now let's make as if we don't want just an anime version, but we want something else, maybe like a line art version or a watercolor version or an oil painting version. So I'm going to show you how you can create a functional workflow that at high level would be complex, especially for beginners or intermediate, but you can compress it down into a simple subgraph node and just have 3 different outputs, and you will be able to control which one it will be generated, especially when you combine it with the partial execution here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how fast you can get that workflow created. First thing that you'll need to identify are what are the things which will be kind of stable, kind of the things that you want at the top level. So I want pretty much this, the checkpoint, to be at the top level, and I'll probably need the VA at the top level as well. We can go through different iteration and refactor the workflow multiple times so that we get the best output. But for now, we'll consider these as the variables that we can change. So I'm going to select these, send it into a subgraph. I'm just going to change the node into super node like I've been doing, right? And now I have something like this. So quick arranging going on here, nothing too complex. I should probably send this over here. Now I'm in a situation where I need to undo the subgraph. So to undo the subgraph, you have 2 choices. So if you are like me, doing it right away, you can press Ctrl Z multiple times. Z as in Z if you are in America, and this will take you back multiple times and you will get your workflow back. This will only apply if your ComfyUI is keeping the history. If you save your ComfyUI workflow, you close out our ComfyUI, you reopen ComfyUI, it will no longer work. So Ctrl Z or Z will no longer work. Then your other option would be to use the built-in way to unpack subgraph. And let's say we are here. Okay, I'm back to where we have the super node here. I will right-click the super node and then select unpack subgraph. This will unpack everything into its individual components. So you can again go ahead, do whatever you need, and then remake that subgraph. All right, I need the VA to be inside. I don't need the checkpoint to be inside. Actually, we can send the checkpoint to be inside just to have like a minimal look. So let's send everything into a subgraph node. All right, let me rename this. I'm again using super node because in my opinion, this is an appropriate word for this type of node. All right, so we have the input image here. It goes here and goes here. So this will once again work. We have a random seed right now. We should get a different image. Again, anime style. Right, let's go inside it. The thing that is controlling whether it's going to be anime or not is here, this positive prompt. So this is the variable I need to change. So I'm going to make this into a input slot here. I will do positive prompt like this. I'm going to go back. Now I have the positive prompt. course, you can rearrange, you can resize, and all of the good stuff is still there. I'm going to Control C, copy it and paste it 3 times. For the second one, I'm going to say, I'm going to try line art pencil style. I'm not sure if the model can do it, but we'll just try it. This one will do some kind of oil painting style. Next, I just need to connect my images. And since we have 3 images, what we can do is we can create a batch images node like this one, and then have only 1 image output. So what I've done here is send this image into the batch image, this one as well. It will combine it. And then because I need to add a third one, I have to create a second batch image and then send the output to this one. And then finally there. So we can collapse these, you can hide it like this. It's totally fine. Now we have 3 input slots and then we have 1 image. However, when we do it like this and when you click on the run button, it will execute 3 times regardless. So this was 1, 2, and then 3 times here. Now you can see we have 3 different images. So this one would be line painting, this one is anime, we have pencil style, and this is oil painting. And you can see it's coming from just 1 image. So we're converting it. Of course, depending on how good your workflow is, you will see the resemblance and stuff like that. I'm not going to focus on that. That's not the point of today's video. What if you want to change only one of these? Right now, we don't have the possibility of doing it when we use a batch image. So the only way to do this would be to remove the batch images and then have individual save image node like this, and then connect them. This one would be second, first. Now let's say I only want to see the anime. I can select the output for the anime, click on the partial execution, and now only this anime style will change. So you will see this update and it will stop right away. I can click on it again. Once again, you will only see this anime update like this. So if I want, this one is oil painting. So if I want the oil painting one, I can click on the partial execution for this oil painting. And now we have the oil painting. And because the seed is randomized for all of them, I can keep on doing this and get different images each time. So I'm going to do this one more time. You can see this change. I can do it for the pencil art as well. So now I can select which part of my workflow I want to execute. So if you have a bigger workflow, something like this, right? You can go to that individual output, let's say this one, and then press the execute button. It will execute only that part. So you can see that only this one got executed. Everything else is still the same as it originally was. So this is the partial execution, and when you combine it with Subgraph, it becomes really powerful. All right, so we've seen a functional workflow that is giving us 3 different styles, and I've showed you how you can make that happen. Now, of course, right now, the only variable I'm changing is the positive prompt, but if you have anything else, you just need to add it to your input slot. Let's say if you have some kind of LoRa strength, you can put it here and then you duplicate it so that you can control the strength for each image. I'm pretty sure you can also use this for some kind of XY plot. One of the issues we have with ComfyUI is that you cannot test and see the result at the same time. You will need to do some kind of scripting, or maybe use the manager and get some kind of custom node to do XY plot. But with this, you can easily make the XY plot for anything yourself. Okay, so I clean up the workflow a little bit. I have only the load image, the subgraph, and save image. So let me show you another really nice feature of Subgraph to quickly enable and disable certain section of your workflow. Actually, it's not really a feature for from the subgraph itself. You'll need to install a custom nodes. So go ahead into the manager, custom nodes manager, and then at the top here, search for role and then install this one here, Comfy Role Studio. You will get an install button, click on it, and then it will ask you to restart. The button will be below here. Click on it, restart your ComfyUI, and then come back. Let's go into the super node. Now I'm going to add a load LoRa. For now, I'm not going to connect it, and I'm also going to fix the seed. Let's go back, run it. So right now, this is without the LoRa. All right, as you can see, we have an anime character. So now I'm going to go and connect the LoRa. I only need the model in this case, but if your LoRa requires like a clip or special tokens inside the prompt, you'll need to add all of that. So I have the LoRa connected. You can see it's connected to the key sampler there. Go back. Remember, the seed is set to fix. Now we have a different style, but I have no way of enabling or disabling that LoRa from the supernode. Right now, built in, there are no way of enabling or disabling certain nodes. But with that custom node, we can go switch, and because this is a model, I'm going to search for model. You can use the top one where you have both the model and the clip. I only need model, so I'm going to select this one. And now I need to connect two models here. So the first one, I want it to be without the LoRa. The second one is with the LoRa. And then the model will go normally to the key sampler like this. So right now I have this, and in order to determine which of these models are getting passed to the key sampler, I have this input field here where I can select the number. So number 1 would be the top one and number 2 would be the bottom one. So this is normal. You would normally use it in your workflow, no problem. We can now combine this with the subgraph by sending the input to the top layer, and we can change this to, I'm going to say switch to 2 for LoRa. Let's go to the top, and I have this button here. So if it is 1, it means no LoRa, will have the original output without the LoRa. If I switch this to 2, now it's going to take the LoRa and it's going to output the image using that LoRa style in there. So this is one other way you can use Subgraph and add it into your functionality, your supernode, in order to control whether you use a LoRa or not. You can, of course, do this for anything. Let's say you don't want anime. You can have a second crop here, and this one can be all painting like this. You just need to find a switch for conditioning. So this one would be conditioning like this. Again, you would connect the two in there like this, and then you would use the input here to control which one you are using. And if you want to send it to your top layer, just do it like this, send it over here. All right, so this was a long video. I wanted to cover everything I discovered and share it with you. So hopefully now you have a better understanding on how to use ComfyUI Subgraph, and you can implement it in any workflow. I would like to give a shout out to my Patreon members. A special thanks to all of you supporting the channel on Patreon. Your support makes these videos possible. If you have the means and you would like to join in supporting the channel, I will have a link to my Patreon page in the description below. Finally, I would like to say a huge thank you to all of you who made it until the very end of this video. The percentage of viewers who reached the end right now is at 14.2% compared to last year, which was 13.6%, I believe. So if you are part of the 14.2%, I really appreciate your dedication watching the video until the very end. By the way, let me know in the comments down below as well. Thank you again. Have a nice day. Take care. I will see you next time.